So this video is about how to find your personal style LGBTQ plus version. Oh, and just really quickly, if you haven't subscribed, then please hit the subscribe button. And I think that if you hit the bell and you hit all notifications, then you should be notified whenever I post a new video. Okay, let's get into it. So discovering your personal style, I think, is something that's really important because it's what people see. It's not just what other people see when you walk out the door, but it's what you're presenting to everybody else. It's what you're presenting to the world. It's part of you. It's like an outward expression of you. And it's something that contributes so much, I find, to, your sense of confidence, your self-confidence, and just feeling like yourself. I've personally found that being LGBTQ, like even before I came out, there were things that for me that other people cared about when it came to style and fashion that weren't in any way important to me. And then there were things that I really cared about that just didn't seem quite as important to the other people around me. There are a lot of stereotypes about how you should look, especially based on your gender. And I think often, like when you are LGBTQ, certainly for me, I found that in a lot of ways, I didn't have the same values when it came to style as a lot of other people. So for me, I didn't actually care that much about being pretty. I didn't, if I looked at myself and someone said to me, and I had it a few times where people would look at older photographs of me and they'd say, that was a really pretty photo of you. Look how pretty you looked in that photo. And I remember just, being like, no, I don't want to look at it. And people didn't understand why I felt that way, because to them it was really pretty, and it was actually a plus. It was actually a positive. But for me, I didn't actually feel like myself looking at that photo, so for me it wasn't a positive. I cared a lot more, so much more, about looking cool for me, and I still do. Like for me, that's what's really important. I cared so much more about looking cool and also standing out, but yeah, definitely looking cool, than I did about being pretty. And so that's one area where, when you're LGBTQ+, I think that finding your personal style can actually, be a little bit different, that it can be kind of a different experience. So let's look at 3 things you can do to find your personal style when you're LGBTQ+. Number 1, what do you want to convey? So what are the most important things, the most important aspects of you that you want to convey, that you want to show to everybody else, that you want to express through the way that you dress? So are you artsy? Are you creative? Do you have tattoos? Do you want your tattoos to be something that are really exposed? Do you have piercings? Do you want piercings? These are all, I think, like, especially for people who are, and certainly for queer women, I think, as well. But I think just for everybody who's LGBTQ+, these elements like tattoos and piercings are often like a prominent part of our style. Not always, but they definitely can be, and they certainly would be for me. Number 2 is looking at gender identity and style. So how do you feel about your gender? Do you feel more feminine? Do you feel you're more masculine? I think that these are the sorts of things that, of course, everybody might ask themselves these questions, but I definitely think that especially if you're LGBTQ+, these are things that sort of come into our orbit, and they can be things that are really important. So for me, I would see myself as, at times I can be feminine to a certain extent, and there are definitely parts of me that are feminine and things that I do with my style that are feminine. So, I wear makeup, for example. Is that, do you want that to be part of your style? And questioning these things can be really important as well, because so often we grow up thinking that this is how we should dress, so maybe, or that this is how we should present. So maybe you're wearing makeup, but you don't actually want to be. Like, there are so many different things that we can question and that we probably should question just to figure out what exactly is right for us. So yeah, for me, like, part of me is feminine to a certain extent, and I don't know whether I would say that any of me is masculine. I would certainly say that there are feminine parts to me, and there are parts of me that feel void of any femininity. And I would say that rather than saying that there are parts of me that are masculine, because I mean that feels more accurate for me. But often androgyny is a style that really works for me, and it's a really important part of my self-expression, my image, and the way that I dress. And number 3, what style feels empowering to you? And I think this is really important because, we shouldn't make the assumption that any one style is more empowering than another. For some people, like, embracing their femininity is empowering. For other people, embracing, like myself, embracing androgyny, mixing different things, mixing things and dressing in a way that is sort of outside gender stereotypes and outside of gender norms is something that feels very empowering to me, because not only does it feel empowering, but it feels really freeing. I think that the most important thing, that what's really important, is just making sure that your style feels like you. And I think that when you don't question these various things, that often you can end up in a situation where you eventually realize that your style is what it is because you've never really questioned it, but that you've actually drawn from different places, that you've drawn from societal expectation, and instead of going inward and looking at what genuinely feels right for you. So right now that's all I've got. If you liked the video, then please hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed already, then please hit the subscribe button, and you can go and see the rest of my videos as well, or some of them anyway. I've created a lot of videos on LGBTQ plus content. I've covered a couple of other kind of niches and areas as well that are really important to me, but LGBTQ plus content is definitely sort of an area that's really important to me on my channel. And I'll leave my Instagram handle down below, almost forgot that. And I love comments. If you'd like to leave me a comment, then that would be really, really great. Tell me what your experience has been like, with your style, like being LGBTQ plus and like finding your style, and are you still working it out? And let's talk about it, because I think it's a really, really amazing topic to talk about. And I will see you in my next video.